This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation is brought to you in part by Clay Boykin Life and Business Coaching, because we all get stuck at times. For more information, visit clayboykin.com. By Janelli Bean, for fun and engaging children's books with cute and colorful characters. For more information, visit janellibean.com. And by Wise Owl Organizing, simply set up for you. Organizing consulting and clarity coaching, virtual or in person. For more information, visit wiseowlorganizing.com.
Oh, Ed, I'm having such a wonderful time continuing this reasonably spontaneous conversation with you. One of the things that you're 77 now, I'm 74, and I am watching, I'm seeing inside my consciousness, I am doing the best work of my life. I'm more creative. I'm more stimulated. This idea of what we think about as our 70s and our 80s, as far as it being something that is diminished, or that is not true. There is something very powerful going on. So, all right. So you you traveled around the world. You taught animation, and you were doing. And how did you get to Lisbon? What in the world did you and Callie think to go to Lisbon, Portugal?
Well, you'll appreciate this, I'm sure. We were living in Los Angeles, in Culver City, in Los Angeles.
Of course, no, I know it.
Yeah, and Callie, my wife, had a good job in the medical education field, medical testing, and I was going to the airport a lot. I was teaching animators and doing that, and I got to be 72. And one day, Callie came home from work, and I said to her, you know what? I don't want to die in Los Angeles. I said.
Now, if that is not a title of a life, I do not want to die in Los Angeles.
That's right. And we sat down and we had a talk that day. And I said, we agreed. We had our health. We had time, and we had room for another big adventure in life, in the third act. And so we said, we could stay where we were, right there in Los Angeles. We could have done it. We were renting. We had a little bungalow there in Culver City with a big backyard and a nice dog and all of that. And we could have done that, but we wanted something else. So we began to explore other places that we might move. And we wound up, we knew that we both liked Europe, and we knew that we didn't want to be cold. So I sat there and I looked at the map with the equator, and it's true. It's true. And we had never really spent much time in Portugal. When we came to Portugal, we said, well, this is just a cool little country. And within 7 months of when we first visited here, we were living here. We gave away and sold everything we had. And we had 26 cardboard boxes that we shipped to Portugal. We bought one-way tickets. We weren't coming back, and we began a new life cycle. And we've been here now going on 6 years and living in Lisbon.
How was the experience of integrating within the Portuguese mindset. Every country has its own mindset, has its own sense. I get very concerned about the cultural nationalism that we have right now around the world. You know, we're having it in the United States, we're having it in others, so that bothers me. But at the same time, there is a flavor. There is a flavor to a particular culture that gets an opportunity to be able to do it. So can you talk about, can you both separate that out and then just to see how it resonated with the DNA of you and Kelly?
Sure. Well, Portugal is unusual because it was under kings and dictators until 1974. And then they had what they call the Carnation Revolution, where it was a bloodless revolution. And
wow.
Yeah, this is what happened. And now Portugal is historically a poor country, fishing country. And so the kings and the dictators pretty much screwed it up. People were poor. I guess I don't know another way to put it.
Yeah.
They had deep culture, but they were poor. And in many ways, it reminded me of the South and soul food and things like that, like how they would do. But it was so Portugal is both young and old. It is the oldest country in Europe, actually.
Wow.
And I mean, this is where Magellan left from. It is the westernmost country. It is the oldest country. It's very historic. But it also is new because it's finding itself since 1974. So we have friends here that actually lived under the dictators, and they've had to make this transition. So Portugal is a growth situation. It's a dynamic country. It's different from other countries in Europe, like Italy, like Spain, like France, because those are all set in stone and deep culture like they are. Portugal is defining itself. It officially is a socialist. Yeah, it's officially a socialist government. But there's so many differences between the United States that we came from and here. I mean, healthcare is considered a birthright. It's not, for example, not that I'm sick, but
sure.
But I'm saying the whole attitude is it's not a fee for service. If you're sick, you know, you can. It doesn't cost a lot to get it dealt with by good people, and there's no guns. There's no drugs have been decriminalized here.
Yes.
Not legal. You can't buy them. They're not legal, but they've been decriminalized. They consider drug addiction to be a health issue.
Exactly.
So yeah. So it's a very, I think, a very civilized way of coming at things. And also, you know what, Dennis, it's not bad to wake up every morning to cobblestone sidewalks instead of freeways. And it's a Mediterranean climate. It doesn't snow. It never gets too hot. It never gets too cold. And there's just you can get in and out. They've got airports. Since living here, I've been teaching in all kinds of countries. Aside from COVID, all of us have been doing a lot with Zoom.
Sure.
But I've been in Egypt and China and all kinds of places. From Russia, I went to at one point. It's but all of it is from here.
Yeah.
You know, from Portugal.
And what a wonderful, I mean, what a wonderful opportunity. So how does Portugal and this as a feed your creative spark? Because I moved from a small South Texas town to Austin because Austin, Texas because it was that creative, I needed that stimulation. So I dragged Melissa with me, God bless her heart, away from her, but anyway, she came along and, allowed me to get on stage and do stand up and the thing. So how has this fed your creative, because you're directing now, you're directing a Sam Shepard play where it's all women playing the male roles. And what's the name of the play?
It's True West.
True West. So you have women playing the roles, and so how has that? And it's in English, right?
It's in English. Yeah, this is the name of the theater company is Ja International Theater Company, and this is the only English language theater in Portugal. And I've directed one other play here. I a couple 3 years ago, I directed a Harold Pinter play. And that was well received. Everybody speaks English here. It's many of them with accents, but they even the little children are taught to speak English. So you can get by in Portugal without speaking Portuguese, which is a very difficult language. Yes. So the challenge for this play, there's a lot of challenges because it's a very physical play, True West. It's written for men, and the men fight. There's a lot of, you need to fight directors, and so women come at thing a little different. So we're having to reimagine the psychology of the play, but the play stands as Sam Shepard wrote it. And for me, one of the big challenges was finding actresses that could handle the material and still sound relatively American. And so, because this is clearly an American play.
Exactly.
It's American culture, it's an American play. And so I believe we've done that. We have a dialect coach to help them get over this hump. And I give them classes in the culture, American culture. I show them movies.
Isn't that, I mean, this is the thing, one of the things that I love about, and I don't know, I mean, just to be able to have and to use video as a tool to be able to say, here, take a look at your move, take a look at this, how you're doing. It's just an extraordinary to be able to have that feedback so quickly.
Yeah, now I don't record them. I haven't yet, but I do show them films and things that I think are relevant and helpful to them, as that they need to understand references, the American references, the American myth.
Sure.
I mean, this particular play, really, it concerns two brothers, and they're really two sides of the same person. And just as all of us, as you and I know from this conversation,
yes,
we are multifaceted, us humans. We have different sides. I mean, there's a part of us that really wants to sort of be a cowboy and ride off on the horse and live on the ranch and stuff. And then there's another part of us that wants to do what you and I are doing right now, talking over the internet. And we have these different sides. Everybody's becoming something.
Exactly.
And so Sam Shepard, it's really, the two brothers are just really two sides of the same person, and they're at war.
Yeah.
The two sides. And so there's no reason why women can't do this also. And so that's what we're exploring, is how does this work with women? And I think, we're going to open November 11th, and I think it's going to be fine. I think we're on track.
Congratulations. I hope you'll send me some stills in this that we can put into the because I would love to be able to to continue this. So what's in your windshield? What's making you curious today and interested in what's niggling at your consciousness to explore?
Well, I have it in my head that I might like to develop a film, a movie. We're kicking around some concepts that could be shot right here in Portugal. It's a really good place to shoot movies, and so we're thinking about that. I'm involved with a community of theatrical people, and so that's one thing. In a larger sense, I think you'll appreciate this, Dennis. I teach that artists are shamans.
Yes.
And we have a shamanistic background. You have it, I have it. It's tribes. The tribes always historically had shamans.
Exactly.
And the people in the tribe, they're afraid of the dark. They don't know what to do a lot of times. And they turn to their shamans for answers. And I think that the world, I don't mean to sound grandiose about this, I really don't.
Right.
But I think that the tribes of the world, all you got to do is watch CNN for 30 minutes. It's a mess. It's just a mess. The tribes don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we actually need to hear from shamans.
Yes.
Now more than we ever have. And I want to be a part of that.
You are.
It's an important thing to me. It drives me. It's I keep looking for ways to connect. When I have one of my students, they'll tell me that I've given them a different way of looking at things. It's what drives me. It's what I live for.
Exactly. And there's a book of philosophy. It's called here it is. It's called A Course in Miracles. And it's A Course in Miracles. And in A Course in Miracles, what that's defined as, a miracle is defined as a change in perspective. That's
Sure.
what you're talking about. You're talking about show me another way of looking at this, and then suddenly everything that happens from that
Of course.
ends up being things we don't control. That's not
Exactly.
that's because it's so much bigger, so much more amazing than we possibly. My imagination isn't big enough to
Right.
imagine how wonderful things can be if I get that change in perspective first.
That's exactly right. I believe that where we are right now is there's so much data coming at us all.
Yes.
It's like lightning coming at you. It comes so fast, and but what's missing, Dennis, is context.
Exactly, Ed.
Is that people cannot slow down long enough to figure, how does this fit together? How does it work? And I believe that what you're doing is helping provide context. This conversation is about context.
Yes.
And the technology will deliver our voices out there and our images.
Yes.
But what we're talking about is narrative. We're talking about, everybody has a narrative. We are storytelling animals. Humans are the only animal that in juvenile play can pretend to be somebody other than who we are. No other animal can do it. Your dog cannot pretend to be your cat. And you say to yourself, if you believe in evolution, you say, why? Why has evolution adapted to give us this ability to pretend to be somebody other than who we are? Why? It's because we learn most of our survival skills from storytelling, not from direct experience. So when the cavemen were sitting around the fire, the first stories they told were about the hunt. They said, you know, Uga went out and chased after the bear, and the bear got Uga because he wasn't careful. And now the people around the fire, they say, oh, I see. And also, you know, the book that you just showed me, the one that says miracles there, theater and religion are
Yes.
very, very closely related.
Yeah.
And theater, in fact, came out of religion. It's yeah, and the religion says if you want to know how to live successfully in the world,
Right.
ask God about it. God is infallible. They'll give you the 10 commandments, the golden rule, and you're good to go. Theater says, well, never mind about that. If you want to know how to live a good life, then look and see what your fellow man has done. Look and see
Exactly.
what kind of mistakes they've made, and don't make those mistakes. Learn from their mistakes. Learn from their successes. That's the business that you and I are in. Dennis.
Exactly. You know, I mean, when I think about something like the Old Testament, and when, I mean, those were campfire stories. These were incredible, entertaining. You can just see sitting around the sand saying, there was this young man named David who saw the giant from the giant Goliath who came. I mean, you can hear them.
Sure.
You can hear it coming around until it was codified by you know, when with those rabbis in prison. I forget. They were in prison, and that's why they had to write it down. But those were campfire stories. Those were acted out.
Of course. I mean, it's you know, if you watch your dog or your cat, you'll see them when they're playing. You'll see them like, you know, trying to come up, and then they'll jump on the thing, whatever it is, the ball or the twine or whatever, and they'll wrestle with it. Those are survival skills.
Of
That's
course.
what they need to do in order to survive. But you and I, we got to worry about the Ukraine.
Yeah.
We got to worry about the climate, about what's happening in terms of how deep the ocean is. We got to worry about ice caps. I mean, there's so many. We don't learn most of it from direct experience. We learn it from stories.
Yes.
And I think that being a storyteller is not only a fun thing to do in life, if you're good at it, I believe it's an honorable thing to do.
I do too.
I will never retire. I know that. I'm not going to retire.
Me too. It is exactly I'm in it for as long as I'm here.
And we treasure you. How is our half hour coming?
It's just wonderful. And you know, Ed, the thing that I want to have as part of this journey is that I also feel like that because of the internet, yes, there are a lot of challenges that come here because it's so easy to show the negative, and the negative is sticky. It's sticky in our consciousness. It goes back to the cave times to be able to sell fear. But something is building. There's a resilience that is building in the human being that says that the light, a tiny sliver of light, will come into the darkness and be able to dispel it. And as we're bringing this light, as we're bringing this, because this right here, this conversation right here, because I'm going to publish it and put it out there on the internet, is going to be available around the world. Now, these are little lights. These are little candles that can continue, that together can end up bringing light. And we'll never know when that tipping point is, but we get an opportunity, you and me, to be able to spread that, to be able to say there is light here. There is a journey together, that we're all in this as one species on this one planet, on this one place that we can go forward together.
That's exactly right. I tell my students, I say, you know, you've got enough people who tell you why we're different, why this country is better than that one, and it's why this bunch of people is better than that bunch. But it is the artist whose job is to tell us why we're all the same. We are exactly the same, all humans. We're all born the same way. We all die the same way. And we all are acting to survive. And we need to communicate better and to understand this about each other. That's our job. That's my job. That's your job. It's what I get. It's why I get up in the morning. And I do. By the way, I just want to, before we get out of here, I want to, if anybody ever wants to talk to me, contact me. I'm online more
It's
than
going to be, the link is going to be right here in the show to be able to contact you, because I want to be able to spread this is the light. This is why I wanted to contact you in the first place, Ed, is because I felt that from the beginning, because you're here to make a difference. And what I love about what you're doing is that you, like the greatest teachers that I have known, do it by walking the walk. You go out there and you demonstrate it. You go out there and you have shown by moving to Lisbon, by following your dreams, by showing your heart. This is all the things that I'm doing now, and you inspire me immensely. And this is what gives me the opportunity to be able to go, yes, we are going in the right direction, and we're doing this. Thank you so much for giving me time and spending some time with me. That you're so gracious, and I just can't. I'm so excited about publishing this. Good.
Privilege and an honor.
All right. Thank you, Ed, and everyone, and we will see you for the next reasonably spontaneous conversation next time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversations has been brought to you in part by In Search of the New Compassionate Male. For more information, go to newcompassionatemale.com.